welcome everyone to PIPCAST 3000, episode 45, a bi-weekly Fallout-oriented and gaming stuff podcast where we talk about those things and possibly other things if we go off the rails, which seems to happen a lot. I'm Caedo Genesis. This is my buddy BADCompanySarge.
Hi there.
And we're going to be talking about a lot of, not really a lot, but a couple of really crazy stuff that has happened in the Bethesda and Microsoft region. And we're also going to be talking about why it's cool to hate Fallout.
Yeah.
That's a very ironic working title that I'm saying out loud right now. Because Sarge did a recent write-up and video on it, and I figured that it's good to talk about why Fallout's so easy to hate for a lot of people.
We're just gonna discuss the feelings around it, have a chill time. It's gonna be great. You'll get a vent, you'll get a chill. Perfect.
So in the comments, before obviously anything else, but like listening to the podcast, in the comments, please share what you hate about Fallout.
Yep.
Or fight the crowd and talk about what you like about Fallout,
Yes.
and then start an argument.
Please, whenever you see a comment you disagree with, even in the tiniest way, please reply to it, and at least 10 sentences. Like, minimum. Okay? Just really let them know why they are objectively wrong for having an opinion that's different to yours. Make sure you do it.
Make sure you say objectively, too.
Yeah. Like, their opinion is not a matter of opinion. It is just wrong.
Man. Okay. Tip of the day. Tip of the day is to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Sarge made sure to do that before the podcast. It's very, very responsible to do that. I made sure to do that after waking up. Because, I want to mention this, that a lot of my top teeth no longer exist. I had them replaced. I am partially... I want to say cyborg. Cyborg sounds cool, but I had a lot of teeth removed because I wasn't taking care of my teeth. So I think it's important to remember tooth care is important. Also, tooth pain is some of the most miserable pain you will ever experience. So, you know, if you're motivated by pain, like, there you go. So we grabbed a comment of the cast. Our last topic was about whether Fallout 4 is an RPG or not. You know, a pretty hot takey type topic that Jared and I were talking about.
I'd argue cold take, considering how many years ago
take.
Fallout 4 came out.
Yeah, all right.
It's a microwave take. It was cold. You stuck it in the microwave, heated it back up again. It's not quite the same, but you know.
Yeah. So what did JM say, Sarge?
JM said, the term RPG is merely a marketing category. Therefore, if Bethesda markets it as an RPG, it is an RPG. That is, it is the category they feel it fits best to describe it to the buying public. It's not something that is written in stone with hard and fast criteria that have to be met. The nature of RPGs has been expanding and changing ever since someone first coined the term years and years ago, and will continue to change as each new game, so labelled, gets released. I struggled a bit with that last sentence, but I agree with the overall sentiment. It's like, role-playing game is a garbage term, in my opinion. And what then people define as an RPG changes so much, and there's so much variation of it.
It's so wildly different.
Yeah.
For different people.
Because playing a role in a game could apply to basically any game, I'd argue, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the role you play in Tetris is block mover. Tetris is an RPG!
Yeah!
So, like,
That's an RPG I like to play.
One of the most successful RPGs out there is Tetris.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah. So, I hate the term RPG, but I think the discussion last time was very good.
And you're gearing up for the hate topic too, I hear that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, so we have quite a few news topics we're going to be talking about, but first and foremost, the most important one that's been blowing up headlines everywhere in all corners of gaming news is Microsoft to purchase Zenimax / Bethesda for $7.5 billion. I don't need to reiterate, like a lot of people already have, that that's a crap ton of money.
Yep.
And this is everything under Zenimax. So we already talked about this on your channel a bit, Sarge.
Yep. There's like a 25-minute discussion we had about it, I think.
Yeah, it's almost a podcast on its own.
Yep.
So I wanted to make sure that the people know that this is not just Bethesda Studios. This is id Software. This is Arcane. This is Machine Games. A lot of the games that we've grown to know and love and enjoy, not just Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. We have Dishonored and Doom and Rage, maybe.
Yeah.
And Prey and the new. Well, I guess we should get into the question parts too, as to what this all means.
Oh, well, what it means is that every single Zenimax umbrella game from this point onwards will only ever be an Xbox exclusive. So, I'm sorry, PlayStation, you will never get another Elder Scrolls or Fallout game. It's 100% going to be like that. It's probably not. I know I'm joking, but there will be people out there.
I was going to be like
so angry.
I was going to be like, Sarge, you're objectively incorrect.
Yeah. No. I actually I put a community poll up on my channel asking about what people thought this would say for exclusivity, and 13% of my audience are convinced that all games now from Zenimax and Bethesda will be Xbox exclusives, which was surprisingly high. But 44% think like I do, in that they'll likely maybe be like some short-timed exclusives, like we saw with Fallout 3's DLCs, I want to say, where they came to Xbox a little bit earlier. Like, I think it's much more likely that Xbox will get things earlier, and maybe tiny bonuses, rather than games being, like, suddenly trampled off. And I should say as well, Xbox and PC, because Microsoft has both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if you have a PlayStation, don't panic too much. It's very unlikely, like, ridiculously unlikely, that you're suddenly not going to be able to play future Bethesda games. That's not going to be the case. So,
I don't know if you were going to mention the PlayStation exclusives that are still going to be honored too, that are also Bethesda games, which would be Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, which will be on PS5, either like timed or just there.
Yeah.
So they're honoring that, and also going to be, I assume too, or I imagine it's going to be timed exclusivity as well. This is the time where we just tell everybody to get a PC.
PC is nice.
It is really nice.
Yeah.
But we can justify it easier than a lot of people too, I think.
Yeah. Like, I only got a PC like 6 years ago now. Actually, probably 5 years ago now. So yeah.
Wow.
I had to buy it. I had to work for a long time to afford all this stuff. They don't just hand them out for free.
I think PC is what I kind of grew up around. So I was a lot of the time I was out of the loop on what good console things came out. But my best buddy had a PlayStation that I fell in love with too. Got my own memory card and everything. So that's what it ended up being, as I now have a PC and a station.
Very nice.
I like an excuse to show it off to people too, but I'm not gonna do that.
Give it a couple more years.
When I have the PS5 on it too.
I was just gonna say when people can come over again.
Oh, well, there is that.
Yeah. You can send people pictures, I guess.
Yeah.
You should twitter.com/CaedoGenesis, just every single day, post a station update, a little photo of it.
Yeah, I gotta clean stuff off of it too.
Yeah, show the cleaning day by day. People will love that. You can then make like an oddly satisfying compilation of all the images. Yeah. All this time away has given me too many ideas. Okay. I think we have well and truly drifted off for Microsoft purchasing.
So
Zenimax.
I wanted to correct on the Twitter
Oh.
name. It's
plugged you wrong.
Caedo_Genesis. Yeah.
Oh, you've made it difficult. I see.
I have, and I think it's because it didn't let me use Caedo Genesis as one word.
Did someone snipe it?
It's possible.
Man. See, I got twitter.com/BADCompanySarge real easy.
Way off topic.
Yep, we have drifted. So, Caedo, you've put an article from The Verge up on our show notes here.
I have.
Do you want to talk about it so I can get angry halfway through a sentence?
Sure. The Verge reported that the first game on Game Pass for the Xbox is going to be Doom 2016.
Wait. Isn't Game Pass already out with tons of games?
It is.
So this is incorrect. There's already games. This isn't the first game out. They wrote this very poorly, and I'm angry about it.
All right.
It's a very misleading kind of article. I hate it. I hate it, Caedo. I hate it.
The first game. Let's rewrite it in real time.
Yep.
The first game after Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda is going to be Doom 2016 because 76 has been on the Game Pass for a while.
Yeah, like a couple of months now, I think.
Yeah. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Honestly, I just kind of hate this article as a whole because all it is, hey, Doom Eternal will be heading to Xbox Game Pass, but they phrased it as if it's like this revolutionary new thing that we've not seen before. Which is like, no, it's the tiniest bit of news that they've bulked out by writing poorly, and that always bugs me. It always bugs me. It's far from the worst article we've covered in PIPCAST history, but grr still.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you know what else is far from the worst?
Oh, God.
The latest update in 76!
Yeah!
What do we know about it? What has happened, Sarge?
Well, it's actually been going for a little while. I can't remember when it dropped. When did it drop, does the article say? September 15th. So yeah, this was like 11 days ago. But Update 22 has a few big things. There's a new Battle Pass season thingy. Woo! Although, obviously that was kind of jokey woo. It does seem to be going by a bit faster than the previous one, which I appreciate. I've been playing not a lot, honestly, and I'm already at like level 20 or rank 29 or something. So it's better than the last one was. They've made it a bit easier to rank up, which I appreciate. Yeah. There's legendary perk cards. Yep. The same ways, just more...
More per day. Sorry.
Yeah. So, you're still having to just chase down the challenges, but it's not suddenly a case of, oh, I missed a day, therefore... Like, if you missed, like, a full week, I think, you would have to just grind the XP. And XP is a lot easier to grind now, because One Wasteland launched, which means enemies kind of scale more towards individual player levels. This is something which I'm seeing a lot of people get confused about. If you play Borderlands 3 in co-op, though, it's basically the same as what that game did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where each player gets the enemy level scaled towards them. Which, it does make it a bit annoying at times when it's like, oh dear, I just wanted to go and kill some easy enemies and they're suddenly a bit tougher. But
there is none.
Yeah, zones do have level caps and stuff. So like, in the forest, the starting zone, if Caedo or I go back there, the Scorched there are only going to be level 50. Like, I think you can get a few level 75s there, but if you come across Scorched in the Cranberry Bog, there's more of them, and they can still cap out at a higher level, I believe. So there's still some semblance of different zones being easier and harder, but it's no longer a bunch of level 1 Scorched versus a level 500 player. So, overall, I think the update is good. The One Wasteland thing, but it has turned off a fair few people because Fallout 76 is not a well enough balanced game. So if you've got a not particularly good build, things are a lot harder. Especially now that there's daily ops, which are a lot of fun in my opinion.
Yep. Short
little repeatable missions. Go to a location, boost some signals for the Brotherhood, kill a bunch of enemies. The enemies have mutations, which could mean you can only kill them with melee, or they explode upon death, or they're invisible while they're not attacking you. It's cool, it's fun. It can cause aggravation if your teammates haven't done it before and don't know what they're doing. Like, the thing is, if you complete it in under 8 minutes, you've got the best chance of getting the best rewards.
Yes.
And I've seen people who clearly don't worry about the time limit at all. They're just like, hey, I'm going to kill every single enemy that spawns in and not go to the objective. But I've also done a daily op now in, I think my best time is 4 minutes and 48 seconds, with a team that just was like, yep, we're sprinting straight to the objective, we're sprinting to everywhere straight away, and we're just staying on it. And then you just zoom past. So I like it.
Well, there was a little stumbling block we ran into yesterday, which was a robot spawning inside the wall.
Yep.
And it was the resilient modifier, which required us to melee them.
Yep.
So even if we had explosives that could reach that robot, wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah. We literally just had to quit out of a daily op because it was unable to be completed. Which was more annoying because we were doing really well too.
Yeah.
Like, we were easily going to get, like, top time. But
fortunately, the second time around, it was quick and easy.
Yeah. And keep in mind, these are things where, if you know what you're doing, it's like a 10-minute, like, quick quest, basically. So it's not a huge time sink, which I appreciate, because there comes a time when you should give up on a game. You can only put in so much time.
Mm-hmm.
And now we wait for Caedo to see if he noticed the segue I did.
I wanted to say something else about the update.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to say that the areas that are previously unused are now being used again, which I really like, because the burrows is a one quest. Previously was a one quest you're done area. The same with the Vault 94. Vault 94 has nothing attached to it now.
Yeah. It was previously a terrible raid where Bethesda did time is wrong, and now it's a good quest where Bethesda have done time is right by not locking everything behind doors which require you to interact with terminals which just freeze on you.
And you can, it's open to like freely explore too, right?
Yeah, you can just wander through it now.
Yeah. One of the other locations that we can do was,
I'm not sure there's any others which have like properly opened up yet, but latest interview with Jeff Gardner is him talking about like other vaults and stuff opening up to be explorable and things like that. So
sweet.
I imagine there'll be more of it in the future.
So this update generally is pretty good.
Yeah,
added more life to the game.
Yeah, it's definitely pushed a few people away, especially with like basically every single build getting nerfed in some way.
Yeah.
But
there's the level 20s to 30s are having a rough time.
Yeah. Apparently if you're mid-level and trying to level up, it's quite tricky. Apparently very low level and very high level is where the update was more suited for. And they forgot people need to level between those two. Yeah.
But the rest is good. But again, this is coming from people that have been playing from day
Beta.
one.
From pre-day one.
Day -1.
Yeah.
You want to segue again?
Man, Caedo, we've been playing Fallout 76 for a very long time. But when should we give up on it?
I mean, I think I decided to give up on it when the microtransactions get extra egregious.
Yeah, that's when you stop doing coverage of it.
So, like, initially, that's when I stopped doing video coverage. But it's still, as of right now, a fun game to play, and they're adding more things that are fun to it.
Yeah. And the fact that the updates are free means that you're not having to, like, throw money to get the new stuff. It's just like, yeah, I've still got this installed. I can give it a try. It's low commitment.
There have been other games I've given up on, though, Sarge.
Yeah?
And you may be nudging me towards a article that I linked from more than 2 weeks ago.
I've not been on it for 6 weeks. It's fine. We can cover some old news.
Yeah. So from PC Gamer, they posted an article that says by Tom Senior, when should you give up on a game? And this is for everyone. Either you're trying a new game that everybody's raving about. but find out later that it turns out to be, oh, it's only 30 hours in where it actually gets to the part where people are talking about. Or it's just not your jam. Like, Souls-like games, I hate them. I am okay with saying that out loud because they're not for everyone. I maybe when I tried to take on a Souls-like game in the form of the Surge, I was doing it because I liked the setting. I liked, but also the setup for the character that went absolutely nowhere, which was annoying. But I liked the environment and the level design, the enemies and stuff like that. But then learned about the punishing bullcrap that came along with that game. So despite going through it all the way, I should have given up on it if I wasn't so stubborn. But there's another one. I like the stealth genre too. I played Styx. It's got like a subtext to it, but that game infuriated me too, to the point of just not being enjoyable as a stealth game, because there was some mechanics in it that were so anti-stealth. But that's my own opinion. Sometimes it's okay. It's okay to just decide not to keep playing.
Yeah, I've had a few games recently which I've given up on to various degrees. Like, the one I've most definitely given up on is the original Assassin's Creed. I tried to play it for the second time. It's an old game, first of all, now, so that's always going to be a bit of a barrier. But the Desmond Miles stuff is absolute trash, which just slows down the entire experience, and I couldn't care less about. It is garbage. I can't believe they did it. It's so terrible. The tutorials at the start are bad. The game's very slow to open up. The controls aren't particularly good on PC. There was just too much negative for me to enjoy the few positives of the game, and I was like, nope, I'm just not going for this again, unfortunately. I also recently gave up on Half-Life 2.
What?
I played it for the first time recently. I played for like a couple of hours, and I was like, yeah, I can definitely see why people enjoy this and stuff, but I don't really feel compelled to keep playing. Like, I can appreciate it for what it is. I haven't actually uninstalled it yet, but I probably am going to soon. I'm just like, yeah, I get it. I don't think it's a bad game or anything, but I just don't have any reason to really keep playing it other than saying, I beat this. And maybe I'll go back to it at some point. I'll be like, yeah, let's just tick it off the list. But it's just not compelling for me to play it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
However, giving up on a game doesn't have to be permanent. Because a game I gave up on very early on was Fallout 3.
Yeah. Wow.
Fallout 3, I just could not stand the beginning of it. Because you start as a baby, and babies are terrible.
That's right, they are pretty bad.
And that was my first entry into the Fallout series. And I basically gave up on the franchise, essentially, at that point when I first started playing it. But obviously that didn't last. Because I got to play New Vegas, I was like, oh, this opens a bit faster. Hey, I kind of like how this plays and stuff. Maybe I'll try Fallout 3 again. I did. And now in 2020, I think Fallout 3 might be my favourite Fallout game. So, giving up on a game can sometimes be worth it, because sometimes you just need to wait to experience it at a different time.
Yeah. I'm probably not going back to Styx or any other Souls-like, though.
I, as well, have given up on Dark Souls 3 recently. Not because I don't like it, I really do like the game. I'll probably be making wallpapers on it at some point. But because it's a game that I need to spend a lot of time on, and I had that free time up until I could talk again recently, and now I'm like, yeah, I don't have like 4 hours just to slowly make it through to the next bonfire, so I'm just not going to worry about it.
Oh, I forgot to mention that one of the games I've been playing does have a photo mode. I don't know how interested you would be in that game, though.
Photo modes are so good. I managed to get binoculars in Dark Souls 3, which let me basically treat it like a photo mode.
Nice.
Yep. What game is it?
Surviving the Aftermath.
I have no idea what that is.
It's the city builder, or colony builder. It's an interesting game to have a photo mode. I don't know if it was...
I'm not too sure about that.
I don't even know if you like city builders, so...
I don't mind city builders. Yeah, I'm looking at images of it and stuff. I'm not going to be able to make wallpapers from that. Patreon.com/BADCompanySarge. Even if you're not a patron, there's free wallpapers for Borderlands 2 and Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite, I believe. So, even if you don't want to throw money at me, because I'm just a random voice that appears on Caedo's channel every once in a while, still feel free to grab yourself some wallpapers for PC and mobile.
I will speak to this too. Sarge is a very skilled game photographer, so
yeah,
he has.
I made pretty pictures.
If you need a pretty background for anything, Sarge has a lot.
They are my own PC backgrounds, because some of them are really good, especially the Borderlands 2 ones. I love them.
So tell us in the comments what games you had given up on, and I am here to tell you that you shouldn't feel bad about it. If anybody needs to, Don't feel bad about it. Don't let anybody guilt you into playing it again when you don't want to. Either.
I'm here to tell you that you should feel bad. You should go back to it immediately. What are you doing with your life? I mean, come on. Jeez.
The Sarge advocate.
Yeah. We all know I'm the devil.
It's the worst. It's the worst when somebody pushes you into playing a game you don't want to play to begin with.
Yeah. Speaking
of pushing, Baldur's Gate 3 early access has been pushed back about a week or so. I think a week or two. And they're just making sure that the game is in a good playable state. Larian Studios has been really good and transparent about their development process, and Swen will wear his suit of armor whenever he can in their developer breakdowns, and it's hilarious and awesome every single time.
So it's being delayed till October 6th, which is just over a week from when this releases. So
yeah.
A week delays and stuff, it can be annoying, I get it. I mean, a big thing I know for people is, I took time off work for this thing. But I'm not sure how many people will be doing that now.
Yeah.
Caedo and I obviously aren't in the real workspace. We're self-employed, yeah. We don't know how taking time off is working in lockdown, which is something
we worked for these not real jobs.
Yeah, well... I've not been working for a not real job recently, but I am again.
Yes.
But yeah, fortunately, everyone's taking this very lightly, and the top 2 Twitter comments that are on this link aren't angry people. Not at all. Not people telling them to feel shame about delaying it for a week.
Yeah. Because that's annoying.
Yeah, I get it when it's a long delay or stuff, but... given the global climate, given that you want a game to actually be good when it releases, and given how small of a delay this is, it's like, come on.
Yeah. Glad it's taken positively too.
Yeah.
Something that was received pretty negatively, that has some positivity to it, was also The Last of Us Part 2. There's some things I learned about it recently that were groundbreaking, but were unfortunately overshadowed by all the negative press about the frickin' story and how it was spoiled. So let me back up a little bit. Laura K. Buzz, another YouTuber that does interesting video game takes and breakdowns, talked about accessibility and disabled access that video games have, and the fact that The Last of Us 2 knocked it out of the park with the ridiculous amount of options they have for people that are even extremely vision compared, meaning that if you are blind, you can play The Last of Us 2, which is a bit mind-blowing, I think, and something that should be looked into a lot more by other developers, making this much access in their games available for those with vision impairment or other dexterity-based disabilities. Because you've already seen Microsoft and Xbox took a couple of steps to make accessibility controllers, but of course those are hardware. Those still cost money. Whereas if you're buying a game that has, as Laura was saying in her video, if you have it, in the game as a software accessibility option, then this person doesn't have to get an extra peripheral to be able to play the game. So this kind of stuff is really, really cool, and I advise checking the video out at the very least.
Yeah.
To see the kind of cool things, because Laura was actually previewing the game itself with a blindfold on, just to see how responsive and how good it was, or how playable it was. And yeah, it was easily played that way.
Cool.
So it's just really cool to see stuff like that, and hear about the different strides being made for everybody to be able to enjoy video games, because I think that's important, that everybody should be able to if they want to.
Yeah.
And also quit playing them and refuse to play them again.
Yeah.
If they want
Everyone has the right to get angry over a video game and throw it away.
Yeah. Something that's thankfully not surrounded by anger so far.
Not surrounded by anything from what I've heard so far.
Is the Tokyo Game Show. A lot of certain fans of certain things are really excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited in particular for Monster Hunter Rise, which was revealed in the Nintendo Direct, and they were showing a little bit more in the Tokyo Game Show. They showed a couple other games like Virtua Fighter 6. It's either a remake. I'm not in the fighting game scene, but a lot of fighting game fans were really ecstatic about it. And I don't know if I have anything else to really say about the Tokyo Game Show.
No, I mean it's not over at the time of
it's not
recording.
over, yeah.
It's going to end around time of release, I believe. So 27th. Yep. So maybe there'll be like some huge announcement right at the end that we would have loved, but we don't know because we're not live streaming this. It gets edited and stuff. So we're just having to be like, yep, cool. Yeah, that's all I can say. That is literally all I can say about it. There's nothing that excites me, I'm afraid.
Those of you who've been watching or paying attention to the Tokyo Game Show or watching streamers, so I've watched a couple streamers that are just there during the show and commentating over it. What are you excited to see more of that was revealed at the Tokyo Game Show?
Yeah.
We have what?
I was going to say that something you're very excited about is Metal Gear Solid returning to PC.
Yeah, it hasn't come back to PC since it was a physical release. That's something crazy. So Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, and a couple other Konami games, which includes Contra and Castlevania, are available on GOG right now. Yeah. And Metal Gear Solid 1 is the original release, and Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance is the release copy of Metal Gear Solid 2. I hear that MGS2 isn't the best on PC, because this is just like they didn't do much with the ports. They just threw them on GOG kind of thing. Yeah. So my initial reaction was, oh my goodness, this could mean that we get the rest of them on PC, which would be cool. However, Konami. So I was super excited when I first found out about it, but on the other hand, Kojima's probably not getting any of this money, which, for anybody who doesn't know, Kojima is the director of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, which is now dead in the water thanks to Konami not having him with them anymore. But he's making his own stuff with Death Stranding, and he's still got the creative freedom under Sony, so he's still doing his thing, just not Metal Gear Solid probably ever again. Anyway, if you haven't experienced Metal Gear Solid and you do have a PlayStation of probably any generation, it shouldn't be too difficult to get Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 that way, and I would actually recommend it. Support your local businesses. Also, I don't know if the Contra games and Castlevania games are available digitally on digital storefronts also. I feel like they would be if they're also available on GOG.
Maybe.
Somebody can correct me on that. Basically, all I'm saying is I don't feel like it's right to support Konami when the heart of the Metal Gear Solid series isn't there anymore.
This seems to be taking quite a few turns.
I have mixed feelings, as you can tell. But the more people who have the opportunity to play Metal Gear Solid, I think they should. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Metal Gear is there too, the original Super Nintendo port.
I feel like you don't need to be too worried about Kojima. I have a feeling he's doing all right. I don't see pictures of him and go, but damn, that guy's a week away from homelessness.
Yeah, I know. I just don't like when I just don't like how it played out. That's all. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. Because I've had a much smaller scale similar situation. So, you know, where something I created I can't get money for.
Yeah.
So, it's annoying. It's frustrating. Wazer Rifle for anybody who cares to know. I can't get money off of that. Well, speaking of getting money off of people.
Yeah, Amazon. The masters of taking all your money all the time. So, this is like the newest of the news. They've just announced Luna, which Amazon's cloud gaming service. Wow,
Yeah.
a big company doing a cloud gaming service? I wonder how that's gonna pan out.
That's so strange. I feel like this is a bit of a deja vu situation.
Yeah.
And I still don't know who the audience is for these.
Nope. This is just Stadia all over again. Like, even if Amazon, like, nails all the things that Stadia got wrong, this still relies on a good internet connection.
Yeah.
If you do not have an incredibly good internet connection, which isn't being hoarded around by other people, and you're in the US, because it's only available in the US right now, this could apply to you. But even then, you're going to be using up tons of like internet using this as well, so it's going to cost you money, and why would you get this? Like, genuinely, not as a, oh god, what kind of fool buys this, but why would you get this? Genuinely, yeah. I'd like to know if there's someone out there who's like, okay, this does appeal to me for X, Y, or Z, because...
Part of what bothers me about it is I think you still have to purchase their controller. Am I understanding that correctly? You have to use their controller?
Which controllers are compatible with Luna? You can play with the Luna controller, Xbox One controller, DualShock 4 controller, or use a mouse and keyboard. So you don't have to use it.
Okay. So you don't have to purchase an extra peripheral to play.
No, and you also can't get it unless you've got an invitation.
Oh.
You have to be invited to purchase the controller
for
the time being.
Okay. All right.
This is an early access though, so you can only be invited to play it right now as well.
Wow, could have fooled me. It's in early access.
Yeah, it's in early access.
Okay, request.
For $5.99 a month.
I just don't read. It's
for
fine.
the time being, and then it sounds like it's gonna go up in price. They also don't tell you how you get invited.
Just click the button, I guess.
Just knock on Jeff Bezos' door and go, please give me a Luna.
Now, this is, I guess, competitive pricing for the service. But again,
that's the early access pricing.
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing.
Yeah, it is going to go up. They even put on here is, it's not like, what will Luna's price be? The question in their Q&A is, how long will early access pricing for Luna Plus last? And they say it's only available during early access. And that's it. They don't give you another price.
Okay.
It's gonna cost more than $6 a month once it's out. And it's gonna be the same kind of thing that Stadia did, and somewhat failed with recently. It sounds like they're gonna have more games. There'll be some Twitch integration.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things.
Yeah.
Like, streamers would actually be able to stream through Luna or something like that.
You can watch Twitch streams from Luna, and it seems like there'll be a link kind of on the stream which you can click on or something of the sort, and then you'll go to playing the game.
Oh.
So
well, that's not as cool.
It's something, but is anyone excited for this?
Watch out, next gen. Luna's gonna...
yeah, they're releasing this at the same time. Like, just after PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X pre-orders just happened.
This is such a bad idea.
Like, and it's after Stadia has been, like, publicly kind of mocked as not doing things well. Like, what do they think's gonna happen? It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Maybe there's gonna be a secret thing.
maybe
a secret thing that they show at the the actual release of it.
Maybe it turns out that the controller does something which I couldn't even say on the PIPCAST because it would have to be edited out. Maybe it's that good, but other than that, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But speaking of next gen though, I did throw into the notes console wars, because I think it's worth briefly mentioning that the new consoles have their pre-orders, which went amazingly and terribly at the same time. Because they sold out very quickly and easily, but it did make it very difficult for people to get them, and there were issues with sites crashing and all of that stuff. It was a bit of a, I can't think of a word that isn't a swear word to describe it, but it was
fiasco?
Rough. Fiasco, yes, a fiasco. It was a fiasco. But it also shows that there's a huge demand for the new consoles, which, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Especially seeing as entertainment right now, home entertainment especially, is bigger than ever. And I imagine that units are kind of tricky to make it quite the same bulk that they'd be able to update for, so yeah, makes sense. The consoles all seem to be fairly competitively priced, which I was happy to see. Especially with how long Sony and Xbox were holding off on the pricing. Like, in the clear game of we can't price higher than one another. And then Xbox announced a pretty low price, and then Sony went, yep, guess we're doing the same. That's a good thing for consumers, having it be reasonably priced. So, yeah, seems good. Sony's going to have some exclusives. Xbox is going to have Game Pass. Honestly, I think both consoles have their appeals. Which one are you going to go for, Caedo?
Well, console-wise, I'm a Sony fanboy. Like, despite
you're getting the PS5?
Version, yeah, I'm probably getting the PS5 when it's not, flying off the shelves.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get either of them.
Oh.
Because I want PC.
Well, that's okay.
I own an Xbox One, which I bought like a few years back maybe now, and I've stopped playing games on it. Like, I've played like maybe 2 games on it this year, spent less than 10 hours this entire year. It's a YouTube and Netflix machine for me now. It's really all it does.
Which is okay.
Yeah. I watched so much content on it. It's on like 10 hours a day.
I think it had been, maybe it was last year. Things are kind of melting together.
Yep.
I played a lot of the Uncharted, most of the Uncharted series, and then I was totally done with it. Just to say that I played it and had experience with it.
That's fair enough.
And a couple of the games that I got at the Retro Gaming Expo that happens here when we're not isolating.
Yep.
But don't need to as much now because everything's on PC.
Yeah, that's the thing. I might get Game Pass eventually, so I suppose I'm more on the Microsoft Xbox camp side of things.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah. I'm glad that the console wars in this scenario don't appear to have, like, a huge winner as such. Like, both of them seem decent to me.
Yeah.
If I were to get one, honestly, I probably would get an Xbox because of Game Pass, and because there's very few exclusives that Sony has ever had where I'm like, oh, I'd like to play that. I think it has been God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn.
I don't know if PlayStation Plus actually offers like free access to games on release though.
I don't know.
So I would say that I think Xbox is actually winning it because of Game Pass and that functionality.
Yeah.
Because games on day one for up to $10 a month.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, if there's an exclusive on Sony that you're super hyped about, that's a reason to go for their console. But otherwise, Xbox will have a lot more older stuff that you could get if you're willing to go for the subscription service as well, which there are people out there who will not want to go for that. Because if you only buy like 2 games a year, and that's all you want, and you only ever play 2 games a year, but you're still getting a new console, you're not going to go for Game Pass, probably.
Wait, why not? It's the same cost.
I know. But if it's 2 completely brand new games, then sure. But if there's people who buy
if
barely any games
Okay.
and don't buy them at full price or whatever, like, it is still possible to play video games at a cheaper price than Game Pass, but it is going to be... It's getting harder and harder, essentially.
Yeah. And I was just saying the Xbox One, even though I'm still buying a PlayStation. Like... Because there are exclusives that I really, really, really want to play. Like, I don't know where the next God of War is going to be, but I want to make gosh dang sure that I have a console to play it on. Also, Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man 2, with Miles Morales. I am so psyched.
See, I legitimately lose my excitement because it's an exclusive, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to play it, so I'm not going to care.
That's what sells consoles.
Yeah. It's what also makes me uninterested in the game, unfortunately. Like, I'm sure it's a good game. I've seen gameplay of the previous one. I'm like, yeah, looks good. I don't care. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. It's okay to give up on a game even if you haven't played it, Sarge.
Yeah.
So we're done with the news.
Yep. We have covered absolutely everything that a viewer could possibly need to know for the next 2 weeks.
Are we just leaving?
Yep, we're done. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Do not consume any other media in the meantime. We will update you in 2 weeks' time. Nothing else is necessary.
Tease everybody with a hating Fallout topic and then just not.
I just go. Okay, so topic name is why it's cool to hate Fallout, and I would argue it's not cool to hate Fallout.
Why is that? Why is that,
so
Sarge?
much for backlash. It's not even hating Fallout. I just personally don't believe you should get yourself so invested in something, especially in an entertainment product which you don't have control over, to let yourself have, like, huge negative emotions on it for a long time. Like, it's totally fine to be disappointed with Fallout. It's totally fine to not like an entry in the Fallout series. It's totally fine to have, like, brief bursts of strong anger and hatred towards franchise or just any segment of it, but to get properly consumed by the hate train of Fallout that can happen isn't cool, because it's bad for yourself. It doesn't yield positive results at all.
I agree. And on the sad side, there are some who make it their identity to hate something, and make sure you know that they hate something. And also, unfortunately, for people like me, I can get pulled into that. I can get baited into that on some occasions, which I mean, as a completely bulletproof and super thick-skinned YouTuber person who doesn't have any emotions besides laughter. All of that was a lie. It is.
Oh no, I was believing all of it. I had my gun set up to test it.
It's super super challenging and tiresome, especially for me and, well, Sarge, on a different level even, because you're in 76.
Oh yeah.
It wears after a while. Like it can have. Thankfully, we have a love for the game more than we love the fans. And I can honestly say that out loud without having any form of regret. But it can cause other people to end up not liking the game, which is kind of backwards, or the franchise, which is kind of backwards, because what we want really is more people to be playing the franchise, so future entries can be better, or exist for that matter.
I do think that the hate train within the Fallout community is a particularly bad one as well. And the reason we're making this topic is because yesterday, from the time you're hopefully listening to it, and an hour and a half from now, from the time we're recording this, I will have put out a video called The Hate Train Needs to Be Stopped, Fallout 76. And boy, oh boy, is it an interesting video. Because we're recording this. Yeah, because we're recording this before it goes out. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I could see this swinging either way. People could be like, oh, ha, 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 this is a different side of Sarge, this is quite funny, we all love it. I could also see my channel losing thousands of subscribers. Like, the community has toxic elements to it, which can drag you in, and you can get properly engulfed by all of them, even if you enjoy the games. And I have an example of this, because I love Fallout New Vegas. I think it's a great game. Problem is, every single time I play it or think about it, the first thing that comes into my mind is the people who put it up on the pedestal and then go, looks really good up there. Let's now hate on every future Fallout game for some reason.
Yay, me too.
Yeah, because it's like, I love that game. I think it's great. I want to spend more time in it. It's a brilliant game. I agree with so many of the positive points people have. But there's this weird thing, this weird tribalism within the Fallout community, where it's like, no, this game is best, and if you enjoy another game, you are wrong. And there doesn't need to be that. Like, just enjoy the games. If you don't find an entry in the series enjoyable, that's fine. The Fallout franchise has a lot of different games which span across, like, different subgenres as well. Like, the first Fallout and the latest Fallout are completely different games to be playing. And if you like both of them, that's great. If one gels with you and the other doesn't, that's also perfectly fine, because you can play the ones that you enjoy, and you don't have to play the ones that you don't enjoy. Being a Fallout fan doesn't mean you have to play every Fallout game, and it has to be the exact way you want it to be. It simply means you enjoy at least a part of a franchise. That's it. Don't commit yourself so heavily into the entire series that if something doesn't go exactly your way, it stirs you up.
Yeah. So, I know by how my analytics usually go, I know only a small percentage of people are actually listening up until this point, so the ones that probably hate are on said hate train probably aren't listening at this point.
Yeah.
But I would also like to suggest those that are just okay with other Fallouts existing, be aware that other opinions don't matter as much as they appear.
Yeah.
Ours included. So, the next time you see, like, say on one of the numerous Fallout has so many freaking subreddits too.
Yeah.
On the numerous Fallout subreddits, if somebody says, I just finished Fallout 4, my opinion, caution, swearing, or some other, bullcrap that, they try to hook people in with, are you going to gain anything from it? Probably not. This is just somebody else's opinion. It's, that happens to be in a published format. Again, something that we do on a regular basis. Yeah. But it doesn't. Ask yourself if you're going to gain anything. If you think you're going to gain anything from it, then go ahead. But if you don't think you could gain anything for it, and if you're just looking for reading fodder, it has the possibility of poisoning the experience for you.
Yeah, reading someone's opinion doesn't change the actual product in itself or the actual tangible thing that's there. Fallout 4 does not change in any way by reading someone's opinion. But what it does do is allow you to see that game as that other person did. Now, that on its own can sound like a positive thing, but if you think about, 10 of the most famous historical figures, there's going to be some good people and some bad people in there. A bunch of names will hopefully have jumped into your head, and I imagine there's a mix there. Imagine seeing the world through their eyes for each of those different people, and some of them you'll be like, oh no, I really don't want to do that, that person's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
So, keep that in mind when you are reading people's opinions and looking at a game through their eyes. I'm not saying people playing the games are the worst monsters around, but there will be people who experience the world in a completely different way to you, and in a way that you don't want to experience it. Yeah, it's just worth keeping in mind that although it can be a beneficial experience to see how other people view the world, if you then get engrossed by that and start viewing it in the same way, that can have a negative impact on not just Fallout, but everything.
Yeah. can we circle back, because we didn't really talk about the New Vegas 2 thing like at all during the news segment.
Oh no, well we can tie it into this a bit.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
say.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds like something popped into your mind. So if you want to.
Oh no, take it. Go.
Okay. So, a lot of people are like screaming. At least I imagine they are. And it's like, nah, New Vegas 2. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Bethesda, Microsoft, Obsidian, freaking in exile. Oh my God, they're gonna make like the best Fallout game. Blah, 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 blah. Yep. Okay, so it's nice to hope for things. I feel like I'm in the uncle advice commercial.
No. Do not trust a hope. It has forsaken these lands.
Yeah. So the disappointing side about New Vegas being vocally as well as pretty universally the best quote unquote Fallout game, has a dangerous edge to it, which is expectation being absurdly high. And it's happened in previous Fallout games in general before. A lot of people, myself included, had different or higher expectations for 76. Also, even earlier example would be Fallout 4. That was a unique experience too, because I had the entire game spoiled for me the day before, which was frustrating. But I think that that is kind of one of the seeds of hate that we keep kind of generating each time there's a new Fallout game in existence.
Yeah.
Because people get their hopes way up. Like, this was just an acquisition. There was no talk of a game whatsoever.
Like, all the talk surrounding the purchase as well was nothing is going to change. Like, pretty much every statement was, hey, nothing's changing.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're just gonna bring our games to more people in different ways. Like, and all these people are losing their minds, partially because Obsidian just did a shrug emote, like trying to read between lines that don't exist. Yeah. So I think that is part of the cause of a lot of things is us getting too excited, because like I've done that a couple times, at least a few times, been really had really high hopes. Also, my immediate reaction to the Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 being on PC thing, that was like, oh my God, the possibilities. And then the rational mind kicked in a little time after that, after I had messaged it in all caps to a couple of people.
Yep.
And then like, oh, I don't know if I already own the games also. Like, like I don't know how much I want to promote this because of all the baggage that comes along with the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
It's very easy to get unrealistic expectations, which then make the result worse. And I'm hopeful that this will become less and less of a thing with video games as time goes on, as I feel like players are very slowly getting more of an insight into how games are made and how all of that stuff works, and extra knowledge about the specific subject helps you to make a more realistic prediction as to what's going to happen.
It's like How It's Made Gaming Edition.
Yeah. It's... people hopefully can understand that coding in a dragon that breakdances on command and that you can manipulate the blinking of when you shoot your gun is understandably a difficult thing. So that shouldn't be something to just expect straight away. That's a terrible example, but I couldn't think of anything. I'm just saying, it's easier to understand limitations once you're informed. So
yeah, if you like a look into that, like if that topic in general like interests anybody, by the way, no clip documentaries are amazing.
Yep. And
you should watch them if you haven't already. One of my favorite games of all time now, Hades, that's its 1.0, has a no-clip documentary of Supergiant going through the whole process of what it was like at different increments throughout the year of early access development to a full release. It's really cool. Is there any any other talking point you wanted to?
No, I've got like
go
a
over?
few tangent branches I could go off of, but overall, I think it's just the general message of this topic is, hey, chill, alright?
You don't have to like something or hate it. Also,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's nothing is black and white. Use The Witcher as an example.
Oh, God.
It's not this or this. It could be just okay or average or mediocre or yes or a maybe.
Yep.
Like and I even though I talk some mad crap even about 76, but I talk mad crap about Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
Yep.
Like I don't go out of my way to be like in increments announce to everyone how much I hate that game and how much it sucks and how much nobody should play it. Like hating and gatekeeping all at once. Like I don't do that because first, well, I think the main thing is it's a waste of time because I'm not having fun. I'd rather, do something I do find fun. Like playing it with my roommate was what made it fun, by the way. Like the game itself was tragic. but playing it with my friend was fun. So, yeah. Maybe this can go off on the sometimes you can make your own fun type of type of moral.
There's always ways to enjoy things.
Yeah. And speaking of enjoying things,
hey, exactly what I was gonna say. We're getting you to those segues, Caedo.
we're on the same wavelength.
Like by episode 100, you are gonna be doing segues properly all the time. So, Caedo, what you been playing then?
Oh, well, I don't know if you've been playing it, Sarge, but I got to play the Krieg DLC a little bit with Dakoba.
I have not played it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything then. It was better than the previous DLC. I will say that.
That's good.
That's what my personal opinion, of course.
Yeah. Which, as we all know, is objectively wrong all of the time.
Yes. Correct that I am wrong. I think the main thing that changed, though, is there was nobody characters in the previous one and characters we know and love in the newest one. I think that was the main defining factor here. I didn't get to play around too much with the weapons. Like this was like super half tired me, and then playing through the entire thing with Dakoba, and then still being obviously tired because I didn't fall asleep during the playthrough. So, yeah, it was fun. It was another fun piece of content for Borderlands 3, and the final DLC as far as I know. So that's it. That's it for Borderlands 3, I think.
Yeah. Final, proper set-piece DLC. I think they're still going to be doing, events and seasonal things and drops and, little bits and pieces to keep you engaged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, something I've been doing videos on, as well as playing quite a bit, kind of waning a bit, is Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. This is the remaster of Kingdoms of Amalur. I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, too. Yeah. But I did the skill books guide because I didn't see enough of those online. And I'm also doing a backpacks guide on how to get all the backpacks for inventory space. Yeah. And I did a tips.
I will say on that note, it feels kind of weird for me with you making those videos because this is the first time this is the first time since Fallout 4 came out, basically, that I've watched your content for the purpose of learning new information, specifically as a guide, rather than being like, oh, Caedo's made a video, I'm friends with Caedo, let's see what he's done. It's weird going back to the time before I knew, and I'm like, wait, he's giving me information!
Wait a second.
Does this guy know stuff?
This guy's just a dumb gamer. What does he know?
I've spoken to him now. He seems like an idiot. How can he possibly know anything?
I clearly don't know how to take pictures in photo mode, so...
Oh. You can learn that.
But yeah, so I did tips and tricks on Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, and it was received very well. the things I wish I knew title, or tips I wish I knew title, works really, really well for SEO. So
Yeah.
that's search engine optimization. I'm sure other people have heard that term before.
Yeah.
Basically, it's telling the algorithm, hey, my channel still exists. So, and I'm not really being too facetious about that. Like, my channel is kind of on this wildly spiking...
Yeah.
The thing that on rails, what is it called? With the bumps.
Monorail!
And the...
Bumps? Wait, something on rail with... Wow. Something on rails with bumps. Roller coaster.
Thank you. It's a roller coaster. This is immersion all over again. Okay. What I've also been playing is Surviving the Aftermath. I talked about this when we had Mantis on. It's a city builder slash post-apocalyptic with a little bit of 4X game taste thrown in, like Civilization, because it's got a turn-based strategy mode on the on the world map layer, and it's also got the city building or settlement building on the other layer. So it's a nice combination of the two things. It's a lot of fun to play, and an easy time sink if you like anything like that builds cities kind of thing.
Yeah.
SimCity was kind of a letdown, and I think EA kind of gave up on it entirely. So you have other indie developers that are coming up with really cool concepts to build off of that. And I would recommend Surviving the Aftermath if you like post-apoc and building stuff. And finally, also building stuff, civilizations are fun to build in Civilization 6. And my roommate and I have been playing that a bit too. Thankfully, we haven't been going all out, so they've been a lot shorter campaigns, like a couple of days rather than a couple of weeks. Because we're reducing the amount of enemies on other civilizations. I just call them enemies because I use domination as a win condition every single time.
I've tried to play a Civ game like peacefully before. It never happens.
It's so
Everyone
boring.
must die. The last big Civ campaign I did, I was super peaceful and then kept getting attacked and had to just nuke their entire population just to end it. It was a shame, but sometimes you have to just commit a little genocide.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, speaking of...
Oh, Jesus.
My goodness. So I played Hellraid, the Dying Light DLC with Nelsar, but I actually ended up making a Caedo's highlights of those experiences with Nelsar, and it was a lot of fun. I did a lot more different editing because this is the first highlight reel I think I've done with DaVinci Resolve. So there's a lot more fun little editing things I was able to do without too much frickin' hassle like I would get with Corel. So
yeah.
DaVinci Resolve
I've just
rules.
taken a look at filters in DaVinci Resolve. Haven't used it yet, but you can literally just drag and drop them over.
Ooh, nice.
Which is, that's why I started playing around with them. I was like, wait, this is stupidly easy.
Oh, like other effects. Yeah, it's so good. I've been using Gaussian blur a lot more. You see it in the intros.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It's very good.
Anyway, we've both been playing DaVinci Resolve, but what else have you been playing, Sarge?
Well, it's been a while for me, obviously, since I was last on, so I've done a lot in that time. Whilst I wasn't able to work, I figured, let's just beat the Bioshock trilogy, why not? Good games. I made a video about them. It did very poorly, because it's not really optimized for SEO.
I like the topic,
anyway,
though.
Yeah, it was fun. I definitely enjoyed the games. And also, I don't have a favourite. I think I like all three of them equally, which
really?
I'm quite happy about. Yeah, it was for different elements as well and different reasons. I was like, I don't like this in that one, but I like this part in a different one. It was perfect. And playing them as a trilogy really made them all balance each other out. So, highly recommend it. They're short games as well. Like, 40 or 50 hours, I think you could do all of them and the DLC. I didn't worry about the DLC, so it was like 35 hours for me. So, yeah, quite easy.
Wow.
I also was playing, just today as well, Final Fantasy IX, because it is my favourite game of all time.
Yes.
And sometimes you just need a game that's going to make you feel good. And that's what Final Fantasy IX is, especially seeing as I forgot that I'm ridiculously good at the game, because it's the game I played for the longest amount of time, I think, in terms of years having played. So I just go to a secret boss and I'm like, I just stole all their items and then killed them in like 4 turns. Wow. That was interesting.
And if I can be so bold, I do notice that your mood seems to have improved quite a bit from yesterday.
Playing Final Fantasy IX does make me happy.
So I'm happy for you, actually.
I did eat a meal last night as well.
Oh,
which was
good.
Really good. Yeah.
Eating is important.
Yep. Yeah, people, try eating. Pro tip. Eat food. Not eating food makes you sad.
So was it like a mixture of hangry and
oh yeah,
just
like
not want to deal with anything?
I should say, I'll reveal to anyone who's made it to the end, I wasn't on like last time and the time before because I couldn't talk because I've been very ill and isolating because I've not been able to get tested, but I've had a lot of bad symptoms. So I'm like, yeah. And that also has meant I've not been going downstairs to the kitchen, so I've just been surviving off of whatever I can find on the upstairs floor of my house, which has not been a lot of food. And deliveries are very difficult right now. I've got like 2 weeks before the next delivery shows up too, so I'm gonna have to start using the kitchen again. But it's been rough.
Yeah.
So hence I played a lot of video games that would make me happy. Back to the topic. I did play Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning as well. I've kind of fallen off of that simply because I've not had the time. But I think what Jared said last episode of the PIPCAST was spot on. How it really doesn't feel like much of a remaster.
Yeah.
And the big point I wanted to add to that when I was listening is that it all comes down to the art style. Because Kingdoms of Amalur is a very stylized game. So there's not much you can do to make it look better. They have made it look better, but without like completely redesigning it, I'd say they can't do too much visually. They definitely could have done more stuff with like bugs and camera angles and
I have an example.
Yeah.
Trials of Mana versus Seiken Densetsu 3. Like Trials of Mana was the remake of that. Just a straight up remaster would just be like softened to look better, because the sprites and animations were so good in the original game, and because it has such a stylized, colorful look to it, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, that's always a problem with any game like that. But I have enjoyed just having an excuse to go back and play more of it. The game, I swear, is more difficult in the remaster, just in general. Like, I feel like they've changed something. Like, maybe the frame rate altered slightly, which changed enemy attacks or something. I feel like, just in general, the difficulty's just a tiny bit harder.
Yes.
Comparatively. And I'm like, why is that? Okay, I'm glad it's not just...
It's because the scaling, the entire scaling system got tweaked.
Oh yeah, that would be the most logical thing. Yeah. It's wolves that get me the big time, though. Like, I swear they're smarter now.
What?
The wolves got smarter. Like, they always seem to just get me a fraction of a second before.
Are you wearing your tinfoil hat, Sarge?
That's beside the point. The wolves are getting smart, and we need to stop them. Everyone in the comments, comment below. Wolves are smart. Caedo is leading this. We must stop him. Okay.
All right. I'm trying. I'm imagining Sarge outside my window, just yelling, "The wolves are smarter."
Why are you making the wolves smart? Yeah. But outside of going crazy, I also have been playing GTA 5. I've been doing the single player of that, and I've been playing it first person mouse and keyboard as well, which at times is brilliant because being able to just wander around a populated city feels so nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh god, that's good. It's quite a nice thing. I've also been on bike rides in it. There's a story somewhere, but it doesn't matter because I legitimately just installed it so I could explore.
Just want to live in a world.
Yeah,
live in a city.
I miss going outside. So
yeah,
it's pure 100% escapism.
Mm-hmm.
And the final thing I wanted to briefly mention is not a game. It's an anime.
Oh.
Trigun, which, really good anime. I recommend it to anyone who can. It's on at least the UK version of Netflix, which is where I watched it. But the reason I'm bringing it up here is that the start of it, at the very least, gave me huge original Fallout vibes.
Oh.
Like the first episode as well. You see like a kind of city town place in the distance, and it's all desert landscape, and the buildings look like the original Fallout. And one of the early kind of like antagonists is like this huge mutant kind of dude who uses a weird weapon. And there were just parts of it where I was like, this feels a bit Fallout. It's not related to Fallout in any way, but there's part of it where I was just like, man, that's a thing. There's an episode as well based all around water, and there was just a lot of things where I was like, yeah, this kind of gels a bit with the overall Fallout. So I thought I'd recommend it on here for people to check out and maybe see if they enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Also, Xbox Ultimate Game Pass is actually offering, I think, Funimation service for like 2 free months. If you're in that kind of thing. So, if you want to watch anime and you already have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you can watch anime for like 2 free months.
Sweet.
That's enough to knock out at least a couple of series. Depending.
Especially if you binge watch like I do.
Depending, yeah.
I finished Trigun in 2 days.
Wow. How many episodes is that?
I think it's only like 20... One second, I'm going to check. Because it's only 1 season, which is why I originally got it. It's 26 episodes. And they're like 20, 30 minutes maybe each. Like, it's not super long. Oh, and the first episode as well, the title of it is The 60 Trillion Double Dollar Man. And I was like, ooh, that seems interesting. It's really good. Like,
yeah.
A top 5 anime that I've ever watched. Highly recommend it. It's good. It's short as well, which I love.
That's good. I don't think I've watched anime in a long time.
I don't watch it very often, because way too many of them are like Dragon Ball Z style, where it's like, oh, it's 5,000 episodes.
Yeah.
Guess I'm not going to worry about that. But the short ones, I absolutely love. Like, they are the best, because I can just watch them, I can get fully engaged, there's a whole complete story, there's not 10 episodes of someone just telling you how they make soup. It's perfect.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I think that's all, right?
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Everything. Awesome. Hey, everyone still listening up until this point. What have you been doing, especially while we're practicing social distancing? Have you found out some sort of workout regimen? Like I've been having to work my right arm because tendonitis sucks, and I found out that lots of protein and arm workouts really helps. But I also want to know what you've been playing, and if you hate Fallout, tell us. Tell us why. As for the rest of the news topics, all there's a link below. If you want to check out Sarge's channel, you can do that by also said links below and on screen. Thank you to Wasteland Legends Sven. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in a couple weeks. 10 a.m. Pacific on Sunday for the next PIPCAST 3000.